Good morning, good afternoon, and welcome to Resco webinar about new features of Mobile CRM, this time version 9.3. As usual, I'm your host, and my name is Juraj Mojik. I'm one of the developers here at Resco. This webinar is being recorded, and the recording will be available on YouTube shortly afterwards. Also, all the attendees of this webinar are currently muted. If you will have any questions during the course of the webinar and would like to clarify or find out anything about the things you will see, feel free to write into the GoToWebinar window your questions and whatever you like. Also, I would like to note that this webinar will be slightly shorter than usual. I expect it to be something like half an hour, so let's get started. Resco Mobile CRM 9.3 is our winter release. It has been released on December 14th last year, so basically something like a month and a couple of weeks before. It contains approximately 30 new features, but this time there were mostly improvements and maybe some minor tweaks, but sometimes even a minor change on our end might mean significant gains on your end. What we will look at today are improvements in email, improvements in chat, especially the survey option, but also we will take a look at the subtotal and other fields on sale entities, which we now automatically calculate for you. I will show you how the simplified advanced find looks like. I will explain how Publish All Projects button works. I'm sure you have noticed this one if you have tried the new Woodford tool already. I will again look at some form rules, this time focusing on the new additions to Media tab. And finally, I will talk about inter-application communication, which adds a way how our application can interact with some custom-built or third-party applications and also consume some data back. So the first section is about email. Let me note at first that email in Resco Mobile CRM is really now a full-featured client, so you can view your emails, you can create, edit emails, reply to emails, send emails. We have Exchange and Google integration or Gmail integration, not only for emails, also for contacts and for calendar. And obviously we have CRM integration, which means that you can make a CRM email out of the Exchange or Google email. We also have quite nice attachment management, so you can view attachments, you can download attachments on demand, and a bunch of more options. The improvements in version 9.3 are mostly some tweaks, like showing unread count of emails. This is the little red dot on the screen, little red bubble showing the unread, the number of unread emails in your Exchange. This is a great small feature that we will improve in the future as well, and in one of the following releases you will be able to put such a badge or this small circle on any custom entity or item as well. Then we have added small button to toggle between unread emails or all emails in your folders, a setup option to mark email as read, so up to 1 minute you can decide after how much time of viewing a certain email it will be marked as read, and also the keyboard will automatically show or pop up once you start creating a new email or once you will reply to an existing email. Similarly, we have done some improvements on the chat. Let me at first summarize what Resco Chat is. We have done a second iteration of Resco Chat, so now it's new, improved, and simplified. I can honestly say that we have taken some inspiration from the tools which are used for business communication or for communication within organizations, and try to model our chat or our communication tool based on that. So now it offers channels, now it offers direct messages, as it seems that these are the main tools or main approaches for business communication these days. And also you can obviously post some posts or messages, tag some entities, attach pictures, and so on. All you have to do for this to be available is to enable chat in Woodford and drag my wall on the home screen. In version 9.3 in the winter release, we have again added a badge for the chat as well. So now you will see, or the users will see, the number of unread messages. We have added an option to add a simple survey, and I will show you how to set up that in a second. But also we have created the channel browser where you can create new channels out of the application. You can subscribe to channels and manage them. And also we have revamped the upload file dialog, so now you can provide some additional information there. I mentioned the survey. It's very easy to create one. You just have to create a post which has this /poll text, and then within the quotes you start at first the question text and then all the answers. There can be multiple answers. This can be created by the user. So if I write this into the Resco chat, it will show as a poll. But also it can be created by JavaScript automatically when something happens. And you should check this method, post message, in the chat service in our JavaScript bridge reference to find out more about how you can create posts in Resco chat automatically. Let me show you all this in our application. This time I will also try to show you at first the iPad, and let's see if this time I will have more luck. It seems so. So let me try to show you the screen of iPad. So you should be seeing it right now. This is the iPad which I have here. And immediately what you can notice is the number 15 showing the unread emails in my inbox folder. This is my actual inbox folder right now, so if you start sending me some emails, they will pop up here. But anyway, the number, it shows the unread count. Now if I want to toggle between unread and all emails, I can start tapping here on this envelope icon. Obviously it does what you would expect. And also I mentioned that we have made the creation quicker, because now if I create a new email, it automatically goes into the to field, and I can start immediately typing whom I want to send this email. Similarly, if I select an email, for example this one, if I select reply, again the keyboard will pop up and I will immediately start typing the text within an email to save clicks and to save a bit of time to the user. I've also mentioned that there is one new option in the, let's mark this email as unread, and there is one new option in the setup. It's in the PIM section, and it's on the bottom. It's called Mark Email Read. Here if I click, I have some options up to 1 minute, so let's set it to the reasonably low 10 seconds. And now if I go into Exchange, and if I again select the same email, after waiting the 10 seconds, this will be automatically marked as unread. I can hear you counting in your head, but yeah, here we are. So it's already marked as read. Let's go back and let's check the chat. The chat is here, the My Wall section, but what I will do first, I will send one message which should appear there, so just a little moment. and I will give it a few more seconds for the push notification to arrive. Please note that the push notifications in general, not only in our application, are not 100% reliable. Sometimes the notification can get lost on the way and so on. So now if I click here, you can see that there is a notification which just arrived. I have one new message in the general channel, which I can see here. I'm currently in the sales channel, and here you can see the little survey, but we will get to that. So here is my new message in the general channel. Webinar is in progress, obviously. So let's add a picture. What I will actually do first is I will go into the channels and show you the channel browser. So here, if there would be multiple channels, I can browse through them. I see the channels which I have subscribed. I see the channels which represent different users. I see channels which I haven't subscribed yet. And I also see the channels or the chat options which correspond to some entities, like to one account and one opportunity. What I will do, I will select the support channel, and here on the top you can see that I can now subscribe to that channel. What I can also do in that channel browser, I can create new one by clicking on the plus sign. So I can create one, for example, for development, hit OK, and now I have created a new channel. Obviously, the other users would have to subscribe to this one. What I will do, I will click on, okay, let me move it a bit up. Okay, now hope you can see it. Here on the bottom, there is this little icon which I can click, and I can attach a picture. So I choose a picture, select one from the camera roll, whichever. And now you can see this is again a new thing where I can put a title to my image, and I can also immediately write some comment like nice screenshot. There is a pending message, and it's uploading currently the screenshot. I also mentioned the survey, so let's try that one as well. And I said that you have to type /poll, and now the question text, for example, what should we work on? And now, now let's put there again some answers like map, route plan, or more chat. Now when I send this, you can see that instead the text which I have just typed, I can immediately see a little survey. Now when I start clicking on these options, you will see that it will start counting the votes. As a user, I have the default option to select each option at least once. So if I select the option number 3, it is there, but if I select it again, nothing will happen. I think this is it for the first demo. Therefore, I'll get back to my presentation and continue with the subtotal fields on sales entities. So when I talk about sales entities, I have in mind the standard, the default Dynamics CRM sales entities like orders, quotes, invoice, and opportunities. On these entities, there is some hard-coded logic in Resco Mobile CRM. Sometimes if you are creating your own custom business logic, this might be in a way, this might get into your way. So it's important to understand that there is some hard-coded logic, but up until this release, all it did was calculate total amount. But there in Dynamics CRM are also some other fields, some partial results or subtotals that get also calculated, like total line item amount or total tags, and the three others which you see on the screen. And what we have added in this release that they are also calculated accordingly. We will see that in the demonstration, like what exactly they mean and how they are calculated. The advanced find was a bit cumbersome, let's say. There were too many tabs, too many screens, too many options for basically such a simple thing as advanced find. So we made the workflow a bit easier. There is not just one screen, one tab right now, and you can save the private view from the form directly. Again, I will show you a real example. And as I said, if you have tried the new Woodford, you notice that there are now two publish buttons. One is for publishing the current project, and one is for publishing all projects. This is used for project hierarchy. If you hear this for the first time, I recommend checking one of the previous webinars where I'm trying to explain this concept in more detail. What the Publish All button means is that if you have a parent project and you want the changes which you have performed on that parent project to be applied to all the child projects, you have to press this Publish All button. Let's see all that in a demonstration. I hope it will be a bit clearer. This time I have to start with the Woodford tool. So here we are. So the first thing which I have talked about were the subtotals. So let me go on to the order. Let's search for fields that contain total. And I will enable total detail amount, discount amount, line item discount amount, pre-freight amount, and tax. I will put these fields onto the form. Like this. And yeah, this is basically it. As soon as they are enabled for the entity, they will be automatically calculated. So I will publish my project and switch to mobile app. It seems that I indeed received an email. I hope it's one of you guys. Anyway, here is the order. So I'll create a new one. I'll select customer, provide some name in there, and a price list. Now I see that here on the bottom there are the new total fields which I have just added. They are empty right now. Let me add a couple of products. Hit back, and I can immediately see that some of the fields are provided, like total detail amount and total pre-freight amount, but still there is no discount, line item discount, or tax. So I will go back into one of the products and at first give here a discount of $2. If I go back there, you will see that now I have the discount for line items, and even total discount is the same. But if I provide the discount here as well, you will see that the total discount is 4 and line item discount, so only the discount which I have provided on the products, is still 2. I can provide the freight as well. So let's give here $5. So now I have pre-freight amount different than total amount and total detail amount as well. And finally, I also want to show you how the total tax gets filled in. So for example, here I will provide tax 12, and by getting back, you see it appears here. There can be also tax field on the order, which can get into total tax. So these were the subtotals or additional calculated fields. These fields are calculated by our application, so you don't have to enable anything anywhere besides enabling those fields. We also talked about the advanced find. So I will open accounts, the accounts view, the default one, and click on advanced find. So here you can see that the design is only slightly different. There used to be 2 tabs on the bottom. The second tab was basically used mostly for just saving the view, which you can now do in the first screen. So what I will do first, I will add a condition that, for example, the account's name has to begin with A. I will also add one more condition, again by clicking here, that the city has to be equal, that's all right, to Redmond. And now if I click here, I can just see the results. If I go back to the advanced find, so let me do it like this, and for example provide the city condition, I can now save my view, let's call it Redmond accounts. This way my view is saved as a private view. So now if I go back here, let me just check it for a moment. I have probably not saved the view. Let me try it once again. Okay, I probably clicked somewhere else. So now you can see that the new view is here. It contains only the accounts from Redmond and also is one of the private views. So when I, as a user, will open the application again, my private view will be saved, and also all the other users will not be able to see it. I also see it here when I try to manage, where I can manage my private views. So here I can delete it, or I can rename it, add some conditions, and so on. The final thing which we talked about in this section was again from Woodford. So I will switch to the application because we were talking about the Publish All button. For that, I have prepared a little structure. Here I have a parent project which contains a change. The change is very simple. The About is the second item on the home form. I have 2 child projects. As you can see, they are both derived from the parent project. So what I will do, I will make the priority of this project 1200. And I will check that my demo user will get that project, which is true because this is the project that this user gets. All right, I have to republish because I've changed the priority. And now if I will synchronize my mobile device, I will get the about as the second item on the home form. I can quickly switch to iPad, so you will believe that it's really that. Yeah, I've synchronized, and the about is the second item. So let's put the about back on his correct position. I have to do it in the parent project. Save. And now if I go back, you will see that only the parent project is marked as dirty. And if I would go in and just publish parent project with this first button, unfortunately, this change would not get propagated. You would have to go into each of the child projects and press publish in them. So to make it more convenient for you, we have created this PublishAll button. And if I click on that, you will see that it gets me an option where I can select which projects I want to publish as well. So this way, the change from the parent project will get propagated to child project 1 as well as child project 2. And I'll do just that. It takes a while. If you have many projects, it can take a little longer. But now if I perform synchronization and go back to my mobile app, as you would expect, the about is on the bottom. So I hope this part is clear and I can return, oops, not this one, this one. Still not the correct one. All right, here we are. Another part which we have enhanced in version 9.3 are the form rules, and especially on the media tab. The media tab is often part of your business logic. You want to have it contain a picture, contain a signature or something, and you want to ensure in your business logic that this content is provided or that it has been modified and so on. This is why we have added a couple of other properties on the media tab, which you can use. One is loaded, where you can force the media tab to load the content, and this is very useful for a couple of technical reasons, which I will explain in the demonstration. You can check if the media tab has been modified, so maybe there was some content loaded and the user has, I don't know, cleared the picture and provided a new one, and you can check for that using isDirty. Probably the most useful one is empty, which checks if the media tab contains data, and obviously you can also provide a caption for that tab. Let me show you this again on an example. So I will go on to the orders, and there I will add one field. It's called payment terms. There are different payment terms like net 30 and so on. My logic will be that for net 30, I would like the user to provide the signature. For the other ones, I don't really care. So I have to save the changes. So the first thing, I will add a media tab, signature, capture signature, that's all right. And in the onSave, I will check. At first, are the payment terms scored, it's net 30. If it is, I will have also one more condition, that the tab signature, is it empty? And if it is empty, I will notify the user. So if there is no signature and the payment terms are net 30, I will say some error, like you have to provide signature for these payment terms. And this would be basically it, but there is one technical reason why this wouldn't work right away. And the reason is that we were trying to be really smart, and we will not load the signature or the media tab if the user will not visit that tab. So we really save the time when the form is being loaded, and we don't load the data in the signature before the user visits that tab. But we can use form rules to force loading the content in there. So when my form is being loaded, I will just make sure that that tab is loaded as well. Because if I wouldn't load it, I wouldn't know if it's empty or not, if it contains data or not. So I have to do this first. So on the load, I will load the signature content, and on the save, I will check for that content. So publish my project, and let's switch to the mobile app to check it out. I did this on the parent project, which was probably not the best, so I have to increase priority on that project. Sorry for that, and let's try synchronizing again. Okay, so here are the orders. I can create a new one. And I forgot to put the payment terms on that. Sorry for that again. So I'll do that quickly here and just synchronize the app. All right. All right. So here we are. Now let's select this one. Here I have the payment terms. So let's select net 30. If I don't go onto the signature, but I will just try to save the form, I will get an error message that the signature has to be provided. And if I go onto that signature tab, draw something and hit save, now I'm able to save my form. There were some logic which you can use on the signature tab. It was mostly for status fields, but if your logic is based on any other field, like you've seen here some option set, or it can be a string or basically any other field, then you can perform the logic right now. The final part of my presentation is about inter-application communication. And where is this useful? What we have seen from your requests was that sometimes there is the need to move the process between applications. So you use Resco Mobile CRM for basically most of your mobile business. But sometimes you have, or the customer has, a special application for a special task, like for some special quote management or quote logic, or basically something very specific to their business and which they do not want to replicate in Resco Mobile CRM. So there are already the mobile applications. How we can move the process between the apps, how we can send the data between these applications and make the users utilize both. In version 9.3, we have added a way to do just that. So to send the data and mostly to consume the data from a third-party app, which use URL schemes. It's a special kind of URL. I will try to explain that in a couple of moments. The third-party app, so the custom app or the app you would like to use, has to support this kind of communication. And it will require JavaScript for you to consume the result. And also you will have to use something we call UI replacement. Here is how it works. So you start with two applications, Resco Mobile CRM and a third-party app. The process starts in Resco Mobile CRM. So the user works there, and at certain point, the need to go to the third-party application arises. So he may press a button in Resco Mobile CRM because he wants to generate a quote. This would open a special URL in our application. It looks usually something like this. So the custom application has registered this kind of URL schema. So it is constructed in Resco Mobile CRM, opened, and it opens the third-party app. So the process continues there. And once, for example, the quote is created, it sends back the data using a special URL. This time it is a URL that our application has registered, that it is processing, and it looks something like JS bridge and so on. I will explain that in a couple of moments. And then the process will continue in Resco Mobile CRM. So here is what I mean by URL scheme. On iOS and also on Windows, there is support for in Mobile CRM app for this kind of URL scheme. This kind of URL scheme was also supported before version 9.3, and it is used to open a specific record. So it's like this: Mobile CRM / open, question mark, and then entity type and the entity ID. Unfortunately, for this, Google has decided that they do not support these kinds of URL schemes, and they need a different kind of URL scheme. So for Android, we have this, RescoNet schemes, Mobile CRM, and then entity type, entity ID. What I have seen in people trying to use this is that the URL contains some data they would like to send. The URL has to be escaped, which means no special characters directly in the URL. So this is the URL scheme that we have registered to consume. And if you have a third-party application, it probably has some URL scheme that it consumes as well, or it needs to register for one. To handle incoming data from the third-party application, the third-party application can use a different looking URL. After open, instead of providing the entity type, there will be the word JS bridge, and then any parameter that you would like to consume. So for example, in the quote example, it would be the quote data to display and save in Mobile CRM. Similarly for Android. However, to consume this and to provide your business logic that handles that, you have to use either URL replacement or home replacement. Again, this concept is explained in one of previous webinars. And there you have to provide a global function, which is called handle launch. And it gets this parameter. So what the other application sends back, this will get the handle launch function. And there you can provide your logic. Unfortunately, I don't have a demo for this one, so I'll conclude this webinar with just a bunch of other features that I think you should know about. One is for people with disabilities, so VoiceOver screen reader on iOS. Now the application content can be read by the device to someone with eyesight, poor eyesight, or who is blind. Using MDM tools like Mobile Iron, AirWatch, they have a way how you can pre-fill login information. So again, URL, username, password, using these tools, and we have created support for that. And also we have support for marketing lists, which can be created from the mobile application and maintained there. And obviously a bunch of other cool features. This is everything from my end. I see that there is one question, but if you have more questions to what we have seen, feel free to write them into GoToWebinar window. I will now check the question. Yeah, the question is about the chat function and if it's usable for chats with external users. The external users are people outside of the organization who use different access, so they don't use the system user entity to authenticate, but they use a different type of entity. So far, I think that it is possible to use the chat function for this. There were some tweaks for this we needed to do on our end. So if version 9.3 might have some glitches in this area, but if that's the case, then version 10, March 2017, should have this already fixed. All right, let me see if there are more questions. There is one more question about security regarding app-to-app communication. In general, we don't impose any security regulations on that because this is something that is completely custom. So you as a customer or partner have to provide the business logic that consumes that parameter. So even if someone would be very smart and try to inject some dangerous code into the parameter, that's something that you would have to incorrectly consume on your end. It's not possible for Resco to insert such a code. And as I said, it also has to be escaped, which means that basically some special characters like brackets, end of line, so on, it's not possible to just pass like that. I can see two more questions. Let me quickly read that one. Yeah, it's about chat and connectivity. So what happens if there is no connectivity? If there is no connectivity, you can still create some posts, but obviously these will be not posted until you get connectivity. But for the full experience, it's always better for the chat to have some connectivity and for it to work online. If there is a maximum number of channels for the chat, as far as I know, there is no limitation in this regard, at least not from the Resco side. Obviously, these are entities on the Dynamics CRM server, so there might apply some of the limitations, but so far I think that there are no problems with even higher volumes. All right. I think these are all the questions for today. Therefore, I thank you for your attention. As always, I hope this was useful and you learned some new tricks which you can then utilize in the projects that you have. So thank you once again and hope to see you next time.